My name is Ahmad Javaid. I am an associate professor in the electrical engineering and computer science department, and I joined this department in 2015, right after I got my PhD degree from University of Toledo. So I'm also a UT alumni, and I do research in cybersecurity primarily. But in addition, I also apply machine learning and different techniques to various areas of optimization and security, and trying to basically build more dependable and resilient systems.
Can you tell me about the classes that you currently teach?
So currently I'm teaching cybersecurity as well as introduction to computer science and engineering. So intro to CSE is basically the class which every freshman is supposed to take at the University of Toledo. In addition, I teach this technical elective, which is the fundamentals of cybersecurity, and that is going to be offered actually in the spring of 2023, starting this academic year. I used to teach that in fall in the past. I also have taught discrete structures for almost 6 years here. Since I started, my career in 2015. I started teaching that, and I have taught it until last year. It is basically a maths-based course, essentially on the topics related to computer science. What are the different type of structures, and what kind of maths we actually need to understand different concepts, and to evaluate the program efficiency, complexities, things like that.
Can you tell me a bit about your current research and what you're...
So as I mentioned, I primarily work in cybersecurity, and I've applied various techniques and methods and algorithms related to machine learning and AI and computational intelligence to this area. And in addition, I've also applied AI and machine learning to a few different areas, such as power grid optimization, how energy should be transmitted, distributed, stored in a more efficient manner, so that the load on the grid is less, and the companies which are producing these energies, they make more and more profit. Okay, and then one of the other things I've also been interested in the past is human machine teaming and human computer interaction and things like that. So but more recently I've mostly focused on cybersecurity and machine learning applications. So for example, this one is about a replay attack for unlocking a car without the remote. So what we did was we captured the signal from the remote, and when, like, for example, supposedly the person actually leaves, goes away from the car, then we just replay that signal which we captured. So a lot of times when we are like, for example, you are out of range of your car, and then you press the unlock button, so some signal is transmitted, right, but it doesn't reach the car. So we can actually capture that, and then we can use that to unlock the car, essentially. So that's what this particular project was about. So we used a open source platform called GNU Radio, and then it basically unlocks the car.
So it captures the signal from the key.
Yeah, from the key fob.
And then you can use it to
unlock it at a later point of time. This was another project we did for UAV flight path visualization and prediction. So in basically this was funded by the Air Force. What we tried to do was we captured the flight data, and then we tried to plot it using our own software which we designed, and then we applied machine learning to predict where that UAV is actually going to be in the next minute, or things like that, based on its existing path. So for example, here you see that the green path is essentially the path it took, and this software is basically the Google Earth software that we used. And this was another work where we developed UAV line following algorithm. Again, I think this was like a senior design project. The students were trying to design an algorithm for the UAV, so that it can go and deliver the mail to the house, because sometimes in the countryside people's mailboxes are like maybe half a mile away from the house, right? So the drone can actually, once something is delivered, it will sense it, and then it will go back to the house and drop that mail. This is another work another student did, was controlling a robotic arm using gestures and speech. So the student had muscle movement sensor on his arm, and using the signals from that, these different movements of his arm will actually control the robot. So as you can see, like different movements, and to increase accuracy, we combined it with a speech as well. And then face and emotion recognition, we used Microsoft HoloLens to design this particular algorithm where it would find the gender, and again, it's not very accurate, but still, it was a good start actually, to detecting things, like glasses, and what is the emotion, and approximate age, whether there's a mustache or beard, and things like that. And then this was another student's PhD work where he tried to extract parameters from the signals itself, to essentially create cryptographic keys, so that we don't have to transmit cryptographic keys over the insecure channel. Two parties at certain location will have the same signal parameter when they are communicating with each other, so we could just use that to secure the communication.
The last question I had was, what do you enjoy most about being a professor at UT?
So being a professor at UT has definitely helped me build my career. I was always interested in doing research, work with the students, and advising, and again trying to do new things. That was basically my interest as a student. And being a professor basically gives you that, because you have access to this this big resource, right? You have so many students, amazing students we get at University of Toledo, and a lot of students are actually doing students are actually interested in doing a lot of interesting stuff, right? They are really motivated, and many times actually I find students who don't need too much guidance. In fact, they are very good at working working independently, and most of the senior design groups I've advised, people have worked very well together in a team, and they have developed some successful technologies, right? So yeah, I mean, I have always enjoyed talking to people, and then that has kind of become part of the job here. So so I really enjoy working at University of Toledo.